Good afternoon, boys and girls. Thank you for joining me again for another read aloud. Today's story is actually geared for some of our older students, so I think this is going to be appropriate for kiddos that are in third, fourth, fifth grade. Probably more toward fourth, fifth is what I'm thinking, but it really just depends. If you want to introduce it to your kiddo at home, I would really encourage families to do that. If you have an older brother or sister you want to share this story with, please go ahead and do that. I think you're going to hopefully take away some nice tips about helping yourself when things get a little bit rough and crazy in the world. So the title of our book today, the name of our book is Master of Mindfulness, How to Be Your Own Superhero in Times of Stress, which we all know things do get a little crazy and stressful sometime, right? Now, the authors of this awesome book are Laurie Grossman, Angelina Alvarez, and Mr. Musumeci's fifth grade class. So this was actually made by several teachers and a group of students right here in California, actually right here in the Bay Area. So it makes it even more special. I want to share it with you guys. Because if these kids can come up with something this awesome, we all can, right? We can all do it. So have you ever been mad, sad, happy, annoyed, disappointed, or jealous? Have you ever had any of these feelings? I sure have. What do you do when that happens? Well, you can try some mindfulness. So this group that you see here of these kiddos, we are fifth graders from Reach Academy in East Oakland, California. Miss Laurie taught us mindfulness in school, but we use it in class, on the yard, where we live, and everywhere. Lots of us have taught our families and friends how to do it. We wrote this book so you could learn about mindfulness and have a better life and live longer and help each other. We will show you how we have used mindfulness, and we'll teach you how to do it and how to find your own master of mindfulness. We recorded our voices so you could listen to us lead you in practices. You can go to, and they give us a website here for www.newharbinger.com/34640 to download the recordings. If you want to listen to your own voice or to someone else or to someone whose voice you like, feel free to record the mindfulness scripts at the end of this book. So it looks like there's some mantras or scripts that you can listen to, but you can also record it so that you hear it in your own voice, which is pretty powerful stuff. What is mindfulness anyway? Now, we've kind of shared some other stories about this in the past. Maybe you guys remember, but hopefully this can add to some of that knowledge that we already have. So mindfulness is a precious thing. It means paying attention to your feelings, to how your friends and family are feeling, to the things you are learning about in school, to your actions, and to playing sports. Mindfulness is really about paying attention to everything right now, or as it happens, noticing it, but not making any kind of judgments about it, not thinking if it's good or bad or whatnot. You just notice that it happened. Mindfulness can help you calm down and deal with difficult things. Mindfulness can also help you pay attention to the world, like hearing beautiful birds sing, really looking at colorful butterflies fluttering their wings, or noticing how the clouds when they move. It can even help you avoid distractions so you can concentrate better, which is a skill all of us can use more of, right? How to be better concentrators. So how do you know when you need mindfulness? You'll know because you get mad and your fists ball up, your face might turn red, and it doesn't really matter what color your skin is. You might want to fight someone or to throw something or to leave where you are. Or maybe you feel sad and your heart feels like it's broken and you want to stay at home. Or you're embarrassed because your teacher calls on you when you aren't paying attention. Or when you're taking a test and your brain feels tight and you can't figure out the answer. Or when people are mean to you and you might do something that gets you in trouble. Or when the birds are chirping but you can't hear them because your thoughts are too busy. Mindfulness can help you in all of these situations. When these things happen, you can help yourself. Just use the shark fin as your signal to call up your superhero. One way to remember you need mindfulness is to call on your shark fin. To do the shark fin, you put the side of your hand on top of your head, and then you move it down your face in front of your nose and say shh and close your eyes as your hand moves down. If you're sitting down, you do the shh while you move your hand. Sit up straight, sit still, sit silently, soft breathing, and you have to shut your eyes. If you are standing, you do the same, but you're standing straight, still, silently, using soft breathing and shut eyes while you move your hand down your face. So I'm going to try that here and show you guys how I would do it. The directions were for me to sit tall. So I'm not going to be slouching. I'm going to sit tall, right? I'm going to sit really quietly. I'm not going to be moving. I'm going to hold still and I'm going to be quiet. I'm going to get my shark fin ready and I'm going to close my eyes and breathe soft. That's it. Not so hard, right? You guys try it at home and see how that feels. Pause the video and see if you can do the same thing and notice how it made you feel to do it. Here are some of the ways we have used mindfulness. I used mindfulness when I got hit in the face with a soccer ball. Instead of getting mad at the person who kicked the ball and leaving the game, I took a few deep breaths and realized I was scared, but I was okay. I kept on playing. Those moments come up, huh? Makes you feel kind of upset, maybe embarrassed that it happened. You get a big emotion, but he didn't act on it. He took some deep breaths and remembered that he was okay, realized he was scared. He didn't feel bad about being scared. He just noticed that he was scared, and then he was able to let it go and continue playing because he knew he was okay. When I got mad at myself for changing a password and my computer wouldn't do what I wanted it to do, so I couldn't play video games, I used mindfulness. This time I didn't holler, kick stuff, and blame my sister. Instead, I called my cousin and asked him what to do. So she used the shark fin strategy to kind of calm herself and think about, well, how can I help myself during this? How can I solve this problem? When my parents started fighting, I went to my room and did mindfulness, and it made me feel less nervous. Sometimes that happens where the stress that we feel, or if we're having emotions, doesn't have anything to do with something that directly happened to us. It could be happening to people we care about, and it can affect us because of how we feel about it. So this was a really good strategy. This student, when he realized or she realized that her family was having a disagreement, they were having a fight or an argument, instead of staying around it where they felt kind of more upset or nervous, they removed themselves and they went to practice mindfulness to help themselves feel better. I used mindfulness when I felt jealous because my cousin got what I wanted. Instead of getting mad at him, I realized that we don't always get the same stuff. New shoes, so it looks like he's got some new shoes. And his cousin noticed it, and it usually makes him feel kind of jealous, and he realized that that feeling came, but he didn't let himself feel upset about it. He just kind of realized, well, he's got some new shoes. Yep, they're nice, and we don't always get the same things, and that's okay. I used mindfulness when I couldn't play in my basketball game because I was late. Even though I took some breaths, I was still disappointed. But I also started cheering on my team. I stayed calm and recognized that I need to be more responsible. So what a great example. This student showed up to practice late and they tried one strategy, which was taking some deep breaths, and maybe it helped a little bit, but this person didn't feel like it helped enough. And instead of reacting in a big way where the reaction didn't match the size of the problem, he decided to stay calm and realize, look, there are rules. If you're here on time, you're part of the game. If you're late, you can't play. And then he realized that he couldn't be a part of this game, that this was his fault, so he owned up to it. Now, that takes a lot of courage and responsibility to do. It's not an easy thing for a lot of people to do, to admit that they've done something wrong and then it's their fault. But he also didn't stay in that feeling and feel embarrassed about himself. He kind of let it go, like, okay, I was upset. Yep, I was late. It's my fault. That's okay. You know what? I'm not going to sit here and be mad. Instead, he was going to enjoy himself and cheer on his team, because the ultimate goal is for their team to win, right? So that's what he focused on, and that was a really great strategy. Really avoided him getting more upset. Why not? Let's do things like that. Now we see some kids in line. When someone cut in front of me in line at the cafeteria, I used mindfulness to settle myself down and just let it be. Before I would get mad, push back, or hit someone, sometimes we'd end up fighting and get in trouble. It's not worth it. It's easier to take a few breaths and calm down. So this kind of goes back to the books we've read in the past together about how your reaction needs to match the size of the problem. So if it's a little problem, we want just a very little reaction to it. It's a medium problem, maybe a little bit more of a medium reaction. If it's a very big problem, we have a big reaction. So this was somebody cutting in line, which is not okay to do, but they did it. And instead of this student getting very upset and having a big reaction and feeling bad inside, he took some deep breaths and he let it go. Felt much better. When I was having a good day, I taught my friend mindfulness. What a great idea. Once you have the gift of knowing how to help yourself during these moments when your emotions and feelings feel really big, it's a great gift to share with somebody else that you like your friends, maybe cousins, family members, brothers, sisters. It's a great tool to share. All right. Ooh. I use mindfulness when I'm sad because I miss my mom who's in Mexico. Then I start to cry because I think of her. Afterwards, my aunt tells me not to be sad because I'm going to see her very soon. I use mindful breathing, then I feel better, and I get happy. My aunt does too. If your mom is in Mexico and you don't have anyone to talk to and you feel lonely, you can do mindfulness. So this student uses it when she's feeling kind of lonely and misses someone that she loves, and it helps her feel better, which is another great way to use these tools. When a little fourth grader didn't say excuse me, I was about to say something, but instead I decided to just take a few breaths. So it looks like someone smaller came up to someone bigger and just was maybe a little rude or unkind in how they bumped into them and didn't say sorry. And she realized that before she would have let herself have a big reaction. Now that she's practicing mindfulness, something as simple as just taking a few deep breaths before saying or doing anything you can see how the peace can just wash right over you. It really helps, you guys. I love it when our tools are very easy to use. When we do mindfulness, it actually changes our brains and it helps us make wise choices. Brain scientists are really interested in mindfulness, and they are doing a lot of research and finding out that mindfulness is great for our brains. That's why it can make us feel better when times are hard. Like when my grandma was late picking me up and I was worried, I took some breaths. I talked to my friends, stayed on the bench, and did my homework while I waited for her. When she got there, I was calmer and I asked her how her day was instead of getting upset. What a beautiful way to start, spending time with someone that just came to pick you up from school. Can you imagine if she'd let herself get very worried and scared? She would have gotten in that car and probably had a big reaction and talked to her grandma about why she was late and how it made her feel. Instead, not only did she not need anybody else to help her, but she used the mindfulness tools all by herself. It made her feel better, and she ended up having a much better time with her grandmother once she came to pick her up, right? So she enjoyed herself. I used mindfulness when I got bullied by some girls and when my brother made fun of me. If someone bullies me, I learned that it's usually because they feel bad about something, so they try to take it out on me. My superhero helps me in times like this. I have an imaginary shield that I put on every morning. If someone is being mean, my shark fin reminds my superhero to activate my shield, and with a few deep breaths, the mean stuff can't get into my heart because they've got that shield up.